Thank you all for coming to our November 1st press conference. At the table, we have head coach Aaron Fern, and he is joined by junior guard Jashawn Thomas. Coach, would you like to open up with any statements?
Nope.
Coach, you obviously were here for the whole year last year, but coming into this year, kind of having that full-time tag, being able to kind of have a full off season to really develop this team, what do you feel like has maybe changed most between last year and this year's kind of roster construction, what you were able to do with this off season?
Look, nothing's changed from how we implemented the system last year to this year. It's exactly the same. You know, what we're doing will be very similar. There'll be no crazy differences there. I think just when you, in this environment, when you're bringing in new players every year, it's just trying to get them up to speed about what we do. You know, it's never very much about, well, we've got to conform to them like they're coming into our program, right? And so it's just about getting them up to speed about how we do our day-to-day business at the end of the day. You know, what we do offensively, defensively, culturally, how we need you to get yourself ready to perform, you know, getting treatment, getting rest, the weight room. Probably the big thing was probably the weight room because Pat came in late for us, and so he was able to obviously get a full summer with the whole group, and has done amazing things with the guys. The transformations of their bodies is night and day, you know, with some of them. So, but to think it's any different than last year to this year, it's not. It's pretty much the same.
Sean, this is the first time I'm getting to talk with you. I've heard a lot about you, but what, in your own words, what do you bring to this team? You know, as it relates to what Coach was talking about, a lot of new guys, new faces. What do you bring to this team specifically, and then, Coach, you can follow?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with this team, like you said, we have a lot of new guys, just a whole new team. So I bring leadership. We need a lot of that just to get everybody to gel together to play our best basketball, and that's what I say I would bring the most.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously has an ability to score at three levels. He can, you know, bang away from the three-point line, get to his mid-range, get to the post, get on the rim. You know, does a good job that. You know, it's been a learning curve. You know, he's like it is for a freshman, a transfer, a junior college player. Like it's all very, very new. So he'll say that himself. It's been a steep learning curve, and it will continue to be that, as it was for our guys last year. The expectations on performing and the responsibilities to perform, and the pressures of playing who we play, and all that is real, and it takes some experiences to learn from them, the success and the not so successful. But his maturity, his leadership, his coachability has been awesome. And, you know, a lot of it's very new. And as I say, it is professional hoops, so I'm going to treat them like pros and prepare them the best that I can. And as a staff, we can to prepare them for that and get them to understand that this is a little bit different than, 5 years ago. So, but that's what it's like in the real world when you get to play hoops. You got to perform. And you got to put in the work to perform. And you're not going to perform every time. And that's okay. And I know that. I know you're not going to come in every single game and just kill it. We'd love it, but it doesn't happen like that. It doesn't happen to the best players in the world. So, and being comfortable with the successes and failures of that responsibility and your role that every guy has.
Jashawn, it's college teams are going to change year to year no matter what, whether it's graduations, transfers, whatever it may be. When a team loses its top three scorers, what type of opportunity is that for some of the new guys that can come to the team, some of the guys that are going to get a chance to fill some of those roles? Yeah,
I mean, obviously there's opportunities there for guys to step up, and we all know that. But as a team, as a collective, like we all want to contribute to wins. That's what we're focused on the most, is coming to this program add wins instead of just focusing on just coming in trying to fill those roles. That'll come if we all have like the same mindset to just go out there, compete, and win.
Last time we talked was about a month ago. You talked about the development over the summer. What's this last month been like? How's the health of the team as you guys look to play in just a couple of days now?
Yeah, the lead-up games, we learn a lot about ourselves. You know, you learn a lot about how hard it is to win, how hard you got to work. You know, there's been some interesting results around the countries with a lot of games. You know, it's probably a lot of surprising ones too at times when you see some of the score lines. But I think that's just what this environment creates now. It's going to take teams a little bit longer to kind of really gel. Some will probably gel quicker than others. And that's just the way that will be. You know, we've been a little bit banged up during the summer. We had some guys coming in with some stuff that they've had to work through and you know, are getting back on floor, which has been great. You know, and so we just get that core together and we can kind of really move forward as a collective unit. You know, that's what it'll be about as we journey through the season, and we're going to have to deal with lots of different things that come our way. I always have that what if list, you know, what if this happens, what if that happens, what if this guy's out, what if this happens, you know, like and that's just the way that sport is, and you have to be able to prepare yourself the best you can for that and find solutions to it, have guys ready to go when those opportunities come up, and it'll be no different this year as it will be for every team.
Coach, just having multiple international players on your roster and then having your own experience playing and coaching internationally, how do you leverage those experiences? And is there anything this year's team has adopted from those international experiences?
I guess it's just my style, you know, like the Australian style is probably a very physical, aggressive type of league, and I guess I coach that way. And I want our guys to play that way, physical, competitive, tough, don't quit, don't back down, step to it, all those types of phrases, sayings, and so on and so forth. I definitely try and coach that way with these guys. I just want them to compete their butts off for 40 minutes no matter what happens. I think that's a learned behavior. You know, I never want to allow them to not just really work and compete, you know, and we lost games last year. You know, we did that. And but I tell you, I felt the guys really competed at a really high level for the whole season. So because when you coach at the pro level, winning's hard. Like, winning's really, really difficult. Everyone's really good. You're going against really high level coaching, and that's what this league is like. And so I shared a story with them, which I'm sure people have seen on social media, about, you know, the 3 top tennis players in the world. You know, like they win, I think on average, like 53% of their points that they play in a game, you know, in a match. I mean, 53%. That's not. You're talking 3% difference, right, between win and losing, and they're the 3 best in the world, you know. And so think about how hard it is to win just at that level for them. It's a little bit like that in hoops. A couple of plays here, a couple of plays there, a lot of the times, and it just takes a lot of attention, detail, and competitive spirit, and to bring that every day. And you know, I know you win on game night and you lose on game night, but really you lose and win during the week in your preparation. So I've just tried to share that with them as well, and obviously with the international guys, they bring their international experiences with us. You know, Nika had an opportunity to be with the senior men's team, the Georgian senior men's team this summer, and I mean that's a different level of hoops. You know, he's playing with some high level pros, and Igor's done that in the past. You know, Alex brings his experience from being an international guy, and it just brings a little bit different flavor to the game. And obviously, like you said, my coaching experience internationally, it's just a little bit different. And we just got to try and mesh them together.
And then for Deshaun, after having trouble on offense in the exhibition game against Georgia, what improvements have you seen since then, and what are your hopes of that being, I guess, improved for the home opener?
I mean, we work on our stuff like every practice. We didn't look at it as like trouble. We looked at it as just a growing opportunity. We we know we have work to do, and just going to practice every day, just working to be good in March. That's what Coach Fern always preaches about. We have to be the best, at our best in March and not now. So not really focused on the troubles.
Coach, as it relates to Presbyterian specifically, what challenges are they going to present you guys, and what maybe can you look to exploit from them that can allow you to get the win come Monday?
Yeah, they're an older group. They've got some older guys, which I think basically every team in college hoops these days is pretty old. So I don't think that's a shocker to anybody. They're no different. So, we played them a couple of years ago. Obviously, there's a bit of familiarity with what they run and how they defend, and they're going to know that about us as well. And we're going to have to play some good basketball. We're going to have to move the ball. We're going to have to, cut hard as we do what we try and do every game. I mean, they're going to move us around a lot, try and spread us out, and use their bigs to, carve out space on the rim, and then their guards will obviously look to penetrate and space us out and shoot the ball. Defensively they'll be very disciplined. He does a good job there, and that program slowly got better and better and better. So, we're going to have to do what we do, move the ball, move each other, cut hard, space out. We'll try and get up and down the floor a little bit as aggressively as we can, and I don't want to make it just a half-court slog. I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be like it was last year, where when we need to do that, we can do it and do it at a high level, but when we get our opportunities to get out and transition, well, we need to do that too, and do that well, and because it's pretty difficult to win when you're just slogging away in the half-court all the time.
Kind of a two-part question. First part for you, Deshaun. It's when you guys are trying to have this focus in practice of always bringing intensity, kind of constant energy, how do you balance the competitiveness between each other and kind of also that camaraderie part of it, kind of bonding together? How do you balance that as a player?
Yeah. At the beginning of the season, we just established a culture. One is obviously compete, and one is mateship, as in his words. But yeah, we know we're supposed to bond off the court. We get along like really good for a team that's just got together. And so like the balance finds itself. We all know how to compete. That's what we came here to do, compete. We all know each other well, so like I said, the balance is already there.
And Coach, the second part, from a coaching perspective, how do you kind of foster both sides of that coin of always wanting that competitiveness, but also guys that obviously are going to bond together as the season goes on?
Yeah, it's something you just you talk through. Like when you coach at the pro level, some practices get pretty damn heated. I can tell you that. Very edgy, and get very physical and confrontational. And I like that. I want that. I want them to get like that. But I also do want them to have some emotional control with it too. And that is a fine line, right? And sometimes they're going to spill over that line. I've never coached a team that it doesn't get to that point at some point during the year. Like guys just get ticked off, and get frustrated, and they're having a bad day or whatever, and it spills over. And look, we've had that, and we talk about it, and the next day or that afternoon or right after practice, they're talking it up in the locker room like they all do in locker rooms, So, but that's what's fun about it. You're not going to be successful if you're not physical, competitive, edgy. It's just learning to grow through it and go through it, just like winning and losing, competing and losing and competing and winning, and being comfortable with that. It's sometimes you can give your best effort, and on the day the guy's just better than you. Or you give your best effort and the guy just makes a great play on that one play. That can't rattle you that much, right? It just can't. At the end of the day, we're just playing a game, right? So we talk about that a lot as a group, and I definitely go out there and try and push buttons personally. Like they'll they know that, and I talk about that. I'm very open with it. I'm trying to push you over the edge, physically, mentally, emotionally. I'm trying to do that type of thing. because we are going to get in some hostile environments. We're going to play some very talented teams in some tough places, and things may not be going our way, so how are we going to handle it? And I think if you can try and develop those environments and practices, you can obviously just learn from them.
Coach, what did you learn from the Georgia game?
Yeah, I mean, they played very well, and I know they played Central Florida a week later and beat them even more convincing than they beat us, so obviously they must be pretty good, I would think. And look, I don't know what injuries teams have and so on and so forth. Obviously, we were down some players too, but if we want to go where we want to go, we're going to play teams like that. And we got to understand that we may face a team like that at the pointy end of the season, and what, are we just going to get overwhelmed? Well, no, you have to maybe and hopefully we lean back on that experience and go, well, we did this in that exhibition game, remember, at the start of the year, and now we've got to go get this done for real. So, yeah, I thought their length and activity defensively bothered us. And we turned the ball over 13 times in the first half. We ain't beaten no one if we do that, ever. The guys settled in the second half and did a way, way better job. So we were probably a little taken back a little bit by that. We didn't do some things very well defensively, which they've made massive improvements since then. I mean, they're a talented team. I mean, the SEC is a whole different beast. But it was a great experience to go through it. I'm glad we did. It humbles you pretty quick. Humbles you as a coaching staff, humbles you as players. You think you're pretty good as a coach or as a player, and you're like, ooh, we got some work to do, So we've worked very hard the last couple of weeks to address those things, and guys have been excellent. And well, now we have to go show that improvement on Monday.
Coach, do you have a good idea about what your rotation may be early in the season?
A little, but those things will change. I'm sure they will. Like I said earlier, we've had some guys banged up, so they're just kind of working their way back in, and so their roles will increase or not. It's up to them. We've got obviously a very deep team and a very old team, so it's going to be competitive from that standpoint. And at the end of the day, it's going to come down to who's performing in their role, and some guys' roles that have been here will be different. Some guys that have transferred in here, their roles are going to be different too, and they're going to have to be comfortable with that and work through that, because that's what's it's about, being a team.
Coach, how have you built your early season schedule to build into conference season?
Yeah, that's a good question. Scheduling is really, really difficult. I mean, super difficult at our level. I saw North Texas just put out their schedule today. We play in, 3 days, 4 days. So it has been very challenging. I like our schedule. We're going to get challenged, obviously, going out to, first game of the season, then out to Utah State, back here against Richmond. We're going to play Davidson. We've got obviously the Diamond Head in Hawaii. We're going to play some really talented teams. Everyone else in between that, and then obviously we get into conference play and that, and we all know that's not going to be easy. So I think you have to just kind of juggle your schedule enough to where you're giving your program an opportunity to grow. It can't be too easy. It cannot be too hard either. There's got to be a balance. There's definitely a science to it. So, yeah, I like what we've got ahead. We're going to have to play well, as we did last year. I mean, we got to the end of non-conference schedule last year. I think we were 6 and 7, something like that. We had a pretty talented team. We played a pretty tough schedule too. And we learned a lot about ourselves during that time too. So this group will as well, and we will collectively and individually. And then we've got to be ready to be playing good basketball and conference play. And then, as JT just said, we need to be playing our best basketball at the end of the year.
This is a question for Jashawn. I just want to know a little bit about your journey coming from Florida Southwestern State, and then you played the exhibition against Georgia. You were in the starting lineup. You scored that opening basket. were you able to kind of reflect on your journey after the game? Do you take that time, or is it you're just focused on the season?
I mean, obviously, yeah. When I scored it, I was pretty happy. Coming from playing JUCO to just making that drastic jump. But at the end of the day, I'm a competitor. That's what I came to do for this team. Compete. And like I said earlier, just be a leader out there, go out there and do what I do. But yeah, it felt good. It definitely felt good.